Sidra Qasim, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Sidra, take us to the beginning. You grew up in Pakistan, where women weren't traditionally encouraged to become entrepreneurs. What gave you the confidence to push against those expectations and become an entrepreneur?
Actually, these are heavy loaded word for me when you say like what gives you that confidence. The reason I say heavy loaded because when I go back in my, start of my story when I was in my hometown, the only thing I was focused on, like, this doesn't make any sense to me, what everyone is telling me to do, where I am right now. And a lot of it was based on curiosity and then also like pushing people one by one as much as I could at the time. So I'm originally from Ukara, which is a small town in Pakistan. It's actually 120 kilometer far away from bigger city Lahore towards the south. And I had all my education in Ukara I had actually my graduation from boys college because they did not have at the time girls college that can offer degree in maths, stat or economics. And I enrolled myself for that. So um, going through that experience, then, I remember like the conversation I had with my mom was she was saying like, okay, you are already graduated. Now we're going to think about your marriage. And that sort of the path, most of the girls around me had like they were getting higher education, then they will become teacher. My mom herself, she was teacher. And um, or the other path was like if you are really bright student, you can become a doctor, and I was not that bright. So they thought like it could be best for me, like if I think about the same path as my mom was going through. And my mom, she always said like, you are gonna get married. You should think about your career choices where you can be financially independent. She always talk about like idea of financial freedom. Honestly, like I learned from her. She was one of those people who become financially independent by herself. So I think that idea was there, but her idea of like balancing the family and the career was like you have to choose something which is safe for you, for your family, and then accepted by the community. And I was like not thinking about marriage, not thinking about anything else. I just wanted to explore the world. And somehow the world around me felt really congested to me. So the first thing for me that happened, which was a big moment, um, when I applied online for a job right after my graduation. My parents did not, they have no idea. Like I have applied that. I just told them that I want to study further, and I want to get out of Lahore to study. But at the same time, I applied for a job, which was basically managing social media, that type of job it was. So first, my parents, they were really angry. And then they said, you are not going to go, because my mother somehow she picked up like she's already talking about really strange ideas. She's like trying to escape. So then in morning something happened. My father was going to Lahore. This job interview was in Lahore. So my father said like, okay, you can actually come with me. So then that's how I landed into an interview, and then finally I got that job and I moved to bigger city Lahore. And then Vakas and I, we met during that time. We used to go to his college library, where we used to read Harvard Business Review. I don't know how, but it felt really exciting to read stories of those entrepreneurs who were starting something. Because somehow where we are from, always the idea was like if you are starting up a business, you have to have bigger resources. And when we were reading Harvard Business Review, most of the stories, most of the entrepreneurs they were talking about, all of them were starting small. And most of the stories were like, you can be creative in less resources. So that kind of like was really inspiring. And then started the first company, which was basically social media art. The idea was like, can we help people sell their product on internet? Because at the time, Facebook was pushing so much about their business pages. But we were not been able to like get really successful in that. I was living in Lahore in hostel doing that job, and then part time I was trying to get few clients. And then somehow we met with a group of craftsmen, and we said, why not we sell your shoes on the internet? So that's where we first, came towards the shoe business. So it was also a very, of course, like we are talking about like 20 years, where I am right now before. So during that time, that group of craftsmen, who was the person who was leading it, he brought $25,000. He said, let's start the business. But Bakas and I, we did not have that much money. So then we started applying into different grants because we heard about this idea of like, oh, people actually can give you grants to start your business. And then we won a grant that was given by Google to some people in Pakistan. So we were one of those people who got that grant, and we got that grant of 8,000 US dollar. But the organization who are giving that grant, distributing that grant in Pakistan, they were giving us in tranches. So we were, they gave for in a complete year four different tranches of the grant, which was 2,500 each. Um, so so that was my start in shoe business. That's where I actually established a real product that I can touch, feel, talk about the story, how we are producing it, and the journey of like shoemaking process started from there.
What an incredible start. So, I mean, there's just so much to talk about.
So much.
When did you meet Wakas? At what point did you meet him?
So Vikas and I, we met first time when he was actually student of my sister. So when I was in Ukara, my sister and my aunt, she started an academy, and Vikas was a student over there. That was the first time we met, and he felt really ambitious guy who wanted to do something interesting in his life, and we kept in touch. But then he moved out of Lahore, and then when I went to Lahore back again, I was looking for sort of those people who I knew in that big city. And then Wakas, was one of them who I got reconnected.
So, I saw that when you and Wakas first started working together, you were basically running your company from a KFC because it had free
Yes.
Wi-Fi.
Yes.
I mean,
That was
what a beginning. What kept you going during those really early struggles?
what kept going. I think lack of choices, honestly, I would say. Like, I think um, the only choice was like what seems right and what is the opportunity we can keep doing that, or go back to our hometown and then accept the life that everyone is thinking for us to live. Um, and somehow that feeling felt heavy, honestly. Like, the exciting thing about like making your own choice is it gives you freedom, and then freedom, it makes you lighter, right? And no matter like how difficult you feel while going through that journey, it always feels much easier than the choices that someone is thinking about you and you are not aligned with that. So I think for me, like, okay, if I'm going towards this path, what is the cost I'm paying? And if I go versus like if I go back, what's the cost I will pay? And I don't know, it felt to me like a little more difficult, that choice.
So, the prequel to Adams was Mark Horror. I saw that there was a Kickstarter for Mark Horror that became Pakistan's most successful campaign ever.
Yeah.
What do you think resonated so deeply with the backers?
Um, So I think one thing which we did very early on, so we started using Twitter very early on. Now Twitter is like a different game, but at the time, when it was a little bit lighter conversation, we started using Twitter. We used to share, okay, we are from these places, we are starting this company, and the idea is to build a product that even at that time, like building a leather dress shoes for every day was in our mind. So we were pitching it like we want to make the world's most comfortable leather dress shoes that people can wear every day. And then we were sharing the process. So I think people somehow, with the concept that you call building in public, we did not know about this concept. We were just trying to like share outside because we were at the time at a place where no one believed in us, and we were sort of like trying to find our community. The only window we had, like a couple of stories that we read in HBR or like through internet, that people become successful by doing smaller things consistently. So I think the successful thing, why our Kickstarter was successful, because first of all, we were very transparent. We sharing about like all those, challenges that we were facing at the time. Then we were celebrating our wins with the community. So somehow, like, we built that relationship. And then we were able to connect one or two people who really like, what we were doing. They actually bought our products, and somehow they were already sitting in Silicon Valley, or like in those communities where they were kind of like in a very close knit. So if they share about, so a lot of people actually share about our Kickstarter campaign, one person within their community, and that's how a lot of people learned about that. So I mean, yeah, that was, I think, I like, it still gives me goosebumps. I don't know how that happened, but we not only we our Kickstarter campaign become bigger, but actually we found really amazing friends during this process who later on helped us. Still, they are part of our journey, and we are so grateful for that.
So I'm hearing building in public as a concept helped you connect with the community. I actually find that concept quite interesting. I struggle myself. Yeah, should I do that? Maybe, I don't know. It's just like I'm just kind of like semi-comfortable, maybe not comfortable with it. But I wanted to ask you, since you've done it before and you know what it's like, if you wanted to start a new company, would you do it like that again, building in public?
2000%, actually. I'll do
Really?
that. Yeah,
Wow.
I'll do that. Actually, there are two type of concept which I heard when people think about like building in public. One is one type of group that say, oh, if I'll share my idea, people will copy it. Honestly, all of us are so lazy. This is why so many products are around us and we want to use it, because everyone is looking for comfort and convenience, and like where they can focus more on something they're excited about. People don't, even if you share your idea, people don't copy it. Even if people try to copy it, they can't be you. Your execution and someone else's execution will be very different. So first of all, like, remove this fear. The second thing is like, ideas itself are nothing. um, when you execute something, actually sometime you get a supporter, a customer, someone or admirer, or someone who can give you advice. That's sort of like things I have seen coming. I think the other group probably would be like, maybe I'm sharing something which is not gonna get somewhere, and I probably look fool or something. I think it's okay. People who understand that failure is actually in is gonna happen anyway, smaller or bigger scale when you start building something. It's how you build your idea consistently, and then what you are passionate about, that takes it forward.
Hmm.
Failure, and then also this concept that someone is going to steal your idea. Actually, think deeper about this. How many ideas we steal? Like we get inspired by ideas, yes, which is, I think, is a bigger thing and a better thing. But I don't see like people steal because you shared that idea. Now they are stealing it. um, and I think like it's really amazing that if we are able to like inspire other people, I see a lot of value in that.
Hmm.
And honestly, like for atoms, the initial people who, so with atom story is also very interesting. So when we came up with the concept for atoms, we sent an email to YC founders. We said we are making shoes for hackers and painters, and we don't have money to make all the sizes. We can only make 10.5 size, and we would love to invite you at our home and show you our product. Also, we would love to make Pakistani chai and Pakistani breakfast. So 147 people responded back to us, and we had 20 pairs for 10.5 size for people who we could invite from in San Francisco. At the time, we were living in San Francisco. They came to our place. We had only one sample, those shoes, 10.5. And we opened up, we talked to them what we want to build, how we are thinking about it. This is first product. This might be good, this might not be good, but what we are looking for is like your feedback. And from there, we started writing about this on Product Hunt. And what happened was, by the time these people were testing our product, other people who were reading about the process, how we are working on our product and the company, and somehow both of them also connected on the internet. They said, I'm using this product. This is so amazing, so comfortable. Everyone should experience this. And now all of a sudden people were saying that how I can get this product. Then we quickly put together a Google form and we said, if you are interested, please sign up here. And by the time we launched Atoms, we had 40,000 people in our wait
Wow,
list.
amazing.
So this is, another strength of like building in public.
I love this 10 and a half size shoes. It's such a nice constraint. You just put it out
Yeah,
there. We only have 10 and a half. Only people with 10 and a half shoe size. It's like an exclusive club of
yeah,
people with 10 and a half shoe size. When are you
absolutely.
gonna make 11? When are you gonna make 12? Only
Yeah.
10 and a half. Only cool people.
Yeah. Oh, because the thing is, we are so, we the other concept is underdog. People want to support underdog, right? We showed this. We showed them the reality with very transparent, being very transparent. We said we don't have money to make all the sizes because we are struggling entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
So like if you are honest about that fact, I think help comes in one way or the other.
Yeah. So, Sidra, Y Combinator is, a tech company's, you know, accelerator program. I don't usually see shoe companies in there. How did this happen? I guess they initially rejected you, but then you tried again and you were able to get in. What was that story like?
Yeah, so yeah, we applied this when shoe company was just an idea from Pakistan before our Kickstarter campaign. And then we applied right after our Kickstarter. And we said, and in Y Combinator application, they at the time they used to ask this question, have you applied before? If yes, how much progress you have made? Do you have a paying customer? We had this story because we did Kickstarter campaign, we had paying customer. So we wrote about that story. The third component actually that we started working at the time was building it more like an Etsy from South Asia. So the idea was like, now we know we brought like shoes craftsmanship. Can we actually bring other craftsmanship from South Asia and build kind of a tech platform? So that was the idea we started working on. But unfortunately, we were not been able to get there for two reasons. First of all, the biggest problem was the payment gateway at that time. There was no way you were able to like take accept like internet payment from internet. And the
And
concept
what
of
year was this?
it was 2014.
Okay, so in Pakistan you couldn't use the payment gateway.
Yeah, so it
Okay.
was sorry, it was 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 14 we did Kickstarter campaign, so 15 we went into Y Combinator. And then some people were doing, cash on delivery, but cash on delivery still was not like established as much. So there was so many problems, especially like building the system. And then on top of that, if you have cash on delivery, how you give payment to your vendors, there were like so many problems over there. And then the biggest was how you maintain the quality. Because at the time we were working on the shoes, I actually learned leather shoemaking by sitting with craftsmen, and I understood like how shoes are made with hand and from selection of material to making the shoes. But then how you can make sure that you are able to keep the quality consistent for other products. So there were a lot of challenges over there, and we were not being able to get anywhere. Then we started writing down. Honestly, at the time it was such a heavy time because we were in Y Combinator, first ever company from Pakistan. Everyone is celebrating, and we were like kind of stuck in a very strange situation. And we were left with 3 month runway, and also we know like entrepreneur we don't make any money. So we were honestly like after 3 months, in our mind it was like we're gonna go back to Pakistan, and I was imagining I'm gonna go back to my hometown and my life is over. And then we started writing documents. We first question we wrote was like, why we are here. why we are in Y Combinator, why we are excited about shoes, what we are exactly excited about. And then, kind of like things started coming together. Like one thing came to us was like, there is a reason why we from small town, from Bukhara, like came here in San Francisco in one of the best accelerator programs. We don't know what is that, but there is something why, our destiny brought us there. So we should actually use this opportunity really well. Um, so the second thing was like what exactly we are excited about. So two things we came back to over and over again. One was like making a physical product that is focused for every day. And we know shoes because now we, kind of like build ourselves for so many years in shoes. So we know how to make shoes. And then the third thing is like about art, design, and storytelling. That's where, the real passion, excitement comes in. So wrote all those points. Then we thought, okay, what's the best thing we can do? And then we met at the time with Paul Graham. And Paul Graham, first question he asked, he said, "Have you ever met with your customer?" And by the time we we came directly from Pakistan to San Francisco, uh, and from Lahore. Before we were in Lahore, we were in our small town, so never been outside before. We used to speak like my grammar was so bad, and I think still I make so many mistakes. But at the time, I used to paralyze. Like when anyone would ask me in question in English, I would like I was so much focused on my grammar than my story. And when Paul Graham asked this question, the first thing came into my mind is, oh, my English is so bad, how I'm going to talk to my customer. And that thing was going so much at the time that we were not meeting with our customer, not taking their feedback. So he said, like, if I would be you, I would go to all these malls, which are bigger malls, just try to understand what's going on in shoe industry, go to all big brands. So we started going to those places. Just first day we were observing like who are the people who are buying this product. The second day we started talking to them. And then when we at the same time we were working on our own psychology, like why we are here, what we want to do. Then we started coming back to them with better question. Like first question was what they are buying, why they are buying, for what they are buying, and what they think this brand or this shoes should do better for them. And interestingly, few things started coming out on a consistent basis. One thing was people who were buying shoes. They said, "I'm looking for something for my everyday," even though they were buying from a brand who is making running shoes, and the shoes they are holding was a running shoes. They said, "I am buying something that I can wear every day. I am buying something that I can wear when I'm dressed up or dressed down. I can wear on in my office. I can wear when I'm dating. I can wear on a nice dinner. And it would be cool if this brand make a shoes where I don't need to tie and tie my shoelaces. It would be cool if this brand can make something so my shoes don't smell. There's so much humidity. I have a foot smell issue. So we started making notes, and somehow this whole thing connected that okay, the gap in the market is a lot of big brands, they are making running shoes, and people who are buying these shoes, they are not buying the shoes because they are professional runners. They are buying the shoes in their everyday lifestyle. So they're looking for a color for a shoes to wear in their everyday. And someone who have worked in shoe industry, we had a clear idea that running shoes construction is completely different because it is focused on function, right? Running function is completely different function, and walking and standing function is completely different. So the first gap we discovered was that no one is making true shoes for every day. And we need to tell people that, when you walk, your foot movement is completely different than a running shoes. When you stand, your foot movement is completely than the walking function. So, and then on top of that, the other thing which people were asking, like tying and not untying shoelaces, clip-on shoes. Like I like the look of the shoelaces, but I hate tying my shoelaces. And then, my shoes don't smell. So we put on that document, and we said we call the headline of that document "Ideal Everyday Shoes." And we said, can we make an ideal everyday shoes? So the journey of Atom started from there, and then we started designing it.
It's amazing. Your immigrant founder journey really resonates with me. Obviously, first of all, entrepreneurship is super hard.
Yeah,
Entrepreneurs, founders pitching VCs is extremely hard. And especially if you're an immigrant founder, first generation immigrant founder like me and like you with an accent, pitching VCs is doubly extremely hard. I remember
absolutely.
when you were
Absolutely.
describing your Paul Graham conversation, it reminded me of when I was in 2013 for startup Techstars in New York. One of the advisors was Fred Wilson, so one of the legendary VCs. He came, so I went into pitch him with my co-founder at the time, and he's such a serious man, Sidra. He's not one of those guys who would just like make jokes or try to comfort you. Very serious. I got so nervous. I started mispronouncing the sentence that I was saying. I mispronounced it 4 times in a row. When I'm trying to correct it again wrong. Try to correct it again wrong. My co-founders looking at me like, "What the heck is happening, man? Get hold of yourself." uh, we had other immigrant founders in the cohort. One of them was a French a company, and they were making 3D software, but he was always pronouncing it 3D. And then one of the VCs was like, "What's 3D? What is 3D?" He 3D. So anyway, these are some of the things that probably most people don't even know about. But now talking to
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
so you got into Y Combinator, amazing, intense program. You graduated. What happened next?
We graduated. We were not been able to raise money. First company, Marcor. So we had like only 3 months to survive. So we had to think about what we're gonna do. So that's when Atom's idea came in, and we um, we actually raised a little bit money in Marcor right close to the end, which were like extremely tight, and that gave us like some time, a year to stay in the US, and that gave us time to work on the product. So we utilized that time. I remember, like at the time, even the Uber drivers, when we came up with this concept of ideal everyday, when you sit in Uber ride, they ask like, "Hey, what you do?" Especially in San Francisco. I don't know if you were over there. Like people talk. So we even try to like validate our ideas with them, like, "Hey, would you buy this shoes if this shoes has this then this?" And we saw like some ideas people were excited, some ideas they were not. So then we met with a designer who introduced us with a factory in Korea, and we started making our first sample, first product, and that's how we were able to make the first we made first 20 shoes that we invited founders from YC to come and try on. And then, from there, people started sharing on internet. And then now we had 40,000 people in our wait list. And at the same time, we started sharing while we were talking to YC founders with those investors we talked during that time when we were working in Marcor, and we kept giving them progress. Some said, "Cool, good for you." And then still we kept giving them some updates. And then somehow they saw those tweets on the internet, and they started sending us email, "Hey, we want to meet you." And we were living in a 4-bedroom apartment in San Francisco with other housemates. We had only one bedroom, but we had a basement where we set up like our office, and we were working from there. So all the investors came over there in that basement, and we were not ready because still Marcor was still operating, and we were founder of the Marcor and still like transitioning out in Atoms. And then we received our first offer for the investment to raise Series A. Actually, seed round first really quick because we need to make some inventory with the factory. So we just took that money really quick, and then VC started coming, and we raised our Series A. It's the quickest round I ever raised, and I think just because the community was really, really excited about the product. So from there, then we started thinking about, okay, where we want to build this brand, and this idea of still like building a brand for art and design was in our mind. So we kept thinking like, is San Francisco is that place where we should build our brand? Should we move to LA? And then we came to New York and we said, okay, we want to be in New York. And then we came here in 2019. And then next 2 years, actually 3 years, we were in pandemic. So honestly, like we launched Atoms in June 2019. After 6 months, everyone entered into pandemic. So then we built Atoms during this pandemic, which was extremely chaotic. But then we launched Mask, which become really big success. A lot of like Hollywood celebrities, they were wearing Atoms mask. And then first time we use our name and people were wearing on their face. And that saved our business in 2020.
That's when I first heard about atoms with the masks in
Mm-hmm.
2020. Um, but I think you really figured out something about the art and design community that's really important that I didn't know about when I first started my company. My co-founder at the time was one of the first designers at Kickstarter, and he's just an extremely talented designer. Actually, to this day, I was just thinking about him today. Actually, he's
Mm-hmm.
probably the most talented person I've ever worked with in my life. It's just
Wow.
so hard to find really talented people, and he was just putting out amazing designs. We were building concert app at the time, and then a lot of designers and tastemakers were kind of like using it and joining the list because it was just one of the most well designed apps out there. Apple was kind of like choosing it for best new apps, and the word was spreading among the designer community because other designers were using it.
Are you
So I'm
using it?
like, this is crazy. Like, I didn't know this was a thing because
Yeah.
designers are people with taste,
Yeah.
artists, people with
Yeah.
taste. So that's
Absolutely.
truly somebody to look up to in turn, like learn from. Like, if this person who's so talented and knows about art and design likes this thing, it must be
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that kind of influence is real influence, I feel
Yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And tastemakers are not just in design community. Tastemakers are everywhere. I mean, if you see like tech people also have tastemakers who define the industry. They say like, okay, these are the things that are gonna be, and they think in product perspective, of course, like what products are gonna be successful, what technologies are gonna be successful. And then also like tastemakers are in marketing as well. People who identify like which product, which company is going, doing really amazing stuff, what marketing campaigns are doing really well. So those are the people that we are really excited about building our brand. So we actually identified them as the new creative. We use this word TNC, and we think that these people, they are tastemakers, but they are in the intersection of art, storytelling, and tech. So if you have to like draw three boxes, they are in the intersection of that. And a lot of like young people are now, who are really amazing, talented people. They have a really good grip of design or art, or they have a really good taste. But then at the same time, they are using some kind of technology, and they sell that whole thing in a really good storytelling way. So I think like that whole group is very, very important. And you can find them not only like in design and art community, but other places too.
So the masks saved the business in 2020. You decided to move from San Francisco to Brooklyn because you felt like it was closer to our art and design community. And what kind of things were working at the time? We talked a lot about the early days, but let's talk a little bit about now, the past few years. What kind of marketing channels worked really well for you? What do you think is working well right now and next year?
Yeah, so I think so after we launched Mask in 2021, my story came on Humans of New York. That gave a lot of momentum. Like around 16 million people read that story, and it was crazy. We were sold out for 6 months, and then um, we also did a really expensive operations during at the time because we had to ship our product really fast to our customer, manufacturing pressure and everything. So 2021 brand grew a lot in terms of like customer, but at the same time we lost a lot of money because we wanted like our customer to have the best experience and we were focused on that. So then in 2022, when we look back, we were like, okay, that's not how we can survive as a business. We need to focus on profitability. And then pandemic was still there, like in 2020, like we were coming out of it, but still it was not clear like it will be gone or not. So I said to my team that early next year in 2023 we should aim for profitability. And then we achieved profitability, which was a great milestone, and we celebrated that. And then the focus was like how we can take care of our customer, but make sure that we are not killing ourselves, because at the same time, DTC consumer businesses were in trouble, and we have seen that wave from after 2021. And still it is there, so we wanted to control our destiny. So we have been focused on that, like how we can grow. And in terms of channels, for us, always direct organic channel always work for us. Email always works for us. Paid marketing is still a big animal. I mean, even when we were at smaller scale or now a little bit bigger scale, we are not been able to figure that out. It's really hard to communicate over there. And especially, I think it's a little bit harder paid channel for brands who are doing community based or brand related things to build on paid, because paid channel is like you talk in few words about yourself and with the offer, and then kind of like hook the audience and then take them through the path of like conversion. It feels a little bit like, I mean, I don't know, like it feels to us like we want to walk people through who we are, and then want to like connect with us and then take um, towards the conversion journey. But it is very expensive if you do that. You don't have enough time in order to keep spending your money, especially when you don't know. Yeah, now you don't have enough information from paid side. So actually, the third thing that really worked for us is product launches, especially collaborations. We did collaboration with Tan France. We also launched a really interesting shoes with Bitcoin community, which was on the idea of financial freedom. And then we are now next year we're going to launch some more collaboration. We have this initiative called AUG, which is Atoms Art Gallery. It's an initiative where we work with artists, collaborate with them, highlight their art, and then also, design a shoes with them. Honestly, like in this project, we learned the most. Like when you work with passionate people, the energy is completely different. So we are going to launch that in January 23rd. So it will be in LA. There will be a launch event in LA. It will be our first pop up in LA. So, really excited about that.
So, for the creators who are listening and watching, what do you look for when you're collaborating with creators with your shoes? Or do they have to be artists?
Not necessarily for this particularly, because it's basically designing shoes. So we right now we are happen to work with two artists. I don't know where we will be able to take it, because this is a very free flowing project. The idea is like how we can involve people who are excited about art, creativity, design, and then build with them. And the main thing for us, the criteria is basically two ways we think about. We look at, like, of course, like there is a personal taste. Right now we are choosing from that perspective. So we look at their art and we see like how they are, what their art look like and how they are actually telling about their art. So both of these artists, we did first a collaboration with an artist. His name is Aroson Lex. He was learning about Japanese calligraphy, and now this artist who we are doing, his art is also really amazing. I think the main thing that we always see is like how they tell the story of their art. And people who are really, really passionate, they actually go in all details to talk about their product, their art. So we have seen, both these people doing that. And the third thing is that they wanted to explore more horizon for their art. So art, for example, like some people look at art project like just as on the frame or like in certain dimension, but physical product is like not only you look at like 360 your art, but at the same time people are going to try on, wear on your product. So it's basically become completely different. So, people who are real collaborators have a high quality taste. they are able to do that. Otherwise, like a lot of people, this is why a lot of like products that look really good, they are not easy to wear. And we are a brand which is very function focused. So we want to, collaborate with those people who have this understanding that this is not a piece which is going to sit in art galleries, but this is a piece people are going to wear it. So those two are the most important thing. And then of course, like, then we also see that, okay, they are based in US because still we are based in US, and some kind of like overlap of community we see. So if we share about this, our community get excited and their community get excited about our product.
Sidra, you learned a lot in the past 10 years. Knowing what you know now, if you wanted to start a new brand from scratch, what category would it be in?
Hmm. Actually, I'm big on automation, and this is like a very interesting phase. I was talking about like art and craftsmanship, and I'm talking about automation. Automation means like where we can introduce, where we can remove friction and refine our work, especially like customer experience. I think is really big thing. There are a lot of touch points which are hard to keep consistent in terms of quality. I wonder what are the things we can do from there. This second, and probably we might do some exciting things. Actually, we are kind of cooking some ideas inside Atoms as well on that. Um, but then the other thing which I'm really excited about is this idea of personalization. I think individualism, it is already, people talk a lot about like your own space. We have been talking about this. This is the best time when people can even openly about their, mental health. They need their space. People understand that. Um, I think the next version would be where people will be able to even, create this space and the environment, and even like, their parents, what exactly they want. And everyone will be okay with that. We see some trend here and there, but actually on a larger scale, we haven't seen. Like people still go and buy boutique items to have like a very personalized look and feel of themselves. But I feel that we will get to a point where, for example, your size is 10.5, my size is 10.5, but you and I, we like different colors, but we like the same type of look as we have. But inside the shoes, your insole, I'm just like using our shoes example. For example, your shoes have pronation issue, my shoes have a different issue. How you and I can have more personalization according to our need. And then at the same time, like you maybe, you like more like artistic edition, I like more, plain simple, that type of, I can keep going with that. People can still do that. The problem is that it's not easy to commercialize. Like you have to pay a really high price for that. Brands have to pay a really high price for that. So I think we'll get there where people will be able to like get from brands. We are seeing a lot of progress in 3D, printing. I actually 2 days ago I saw something amazing made out of 3D printer, which I was really excited. And I'm talking to them like how we can actually be part of that. Then at the same time, Chat GPT. Honestly, like there is the amount of data that you can get about, like if you just, a product that you use, just upload your picture over there and ask it to give you feedback how you have been wearing it. It will give you a really good data. We have been experimenting with those things. So I'm really excited about that part. I think we are gonna see an immense amount of shift where the old way of working, would not be. We would not be able to, see that thing. But whenever this transition will happen, it will happen in a way that it will feel, oh, it's not like, something we came because someone pushed it really hard. It will happen organically, and everyone will feel, yeah, I needed that. So that's how it will be. So I'm really excited about like how customer experience automation will happen while people feel they are getting something for them.
Sidra, final two-part question. Top two problems giving you a headache right now, and top two priorities you're excited for the year. You talked about ARC a little bit. I'm sure that's one of the
Hmm.
priorities.
Yeah. So the biggest headache for this year was our supply chain. We had to move our uh, manufacturing and complete supply chain operations from Korea to Vietnam. It took so much time. We are still on the last piece of, you know, tweaking that. Um, I think I'm hoping like in next few weeks we'll be in a really good position. So that gives me, I mean, that gave me honestly like headache the entire year, but now we are getting out of that. Um, the second thing the second question was, what is my priority for next year? Of course, you know, we are launching that, you know, collaboration with the artist. The second most important priority is like how we can keep our quality consistent, but at the same time we grow. Because this year we had supply chain issues, so we had to like slow down a bit more and make sure that our quality is not like dropping. Because every time, you know, even one hand change, uh, you will feel like, you know, the product and the whole supply chain actually change. So now my next year, my priority is that now when we have a consistent quality, how we can actually grow and scale our brand. And I'm really looking forward to, we already have planting some really amazing seeds here and there. So we'll see like some of them will start generating some outcomes.
Sidra Qasim, thank you for sharing your journey with me.
Thank you so much. Yeah, really nice meeting you, and thank you for having me.